Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Thursday, the 30th of October, 2025. We'll start with the synoptic, as always. Yesterday lunchtime to begin with, and we can see the series of low pressures and cold front here that brought the very unsettled weather we had yesterday. Initially a bit of a clearance in the morning, but just before we got going, thick low cloud and rain for the remainder of the day. So not very pleasant at all. Very little accomplished. But looking into overnight tonight, that's cleared up a little bit with this low out to the west establishing itself with quite a lot of trough activity around it, as well as the key front here. And by lunchtime today, that's gotten a fair bit closer. The warm front is well over Ireland, just approaching the western coast of Wales, and the cold front found in the west coast of Ireland there. So it's a fairly fast-moving system, and it should be over us later on today, bringing with it this high cover that we've got at the moment, and that's going to be thickening a fairly typical warm front profile before later on we get hit by the rain and wind with this cold front overnight. You can see midnight tonight, those are both the cold front's more or less just over our area at the moment, with plenty of other windy weather around us. And into the day tomorrow, very large trough here, spread across much of the UK and spanning the entire Bay of Biscay as well. So slightly poorer weather into the weekend, but this should be an opportunity to do something. But stronger winds, generally quite a southerly flow, and some inconsistent frontal activity and troughs as well. Onto the sat pit back to today. We can see here that thin layer of top cover that's over us at the moment, thickening out to the west, and then very much evidence of that front there. With that, bringing some rain out to the west, that should actually mostly avoid us tracking. So you go vaguely northeasterly there, and it should just about miss us. Looking at the Met Office prediction, showing that rain there, not quite as thick in reality as the forecast suggests, but tracking north away from us. We will remain clear all throughout today until you see the front there about 3:30 becoming into view, and that will in fact arrive well after sunset, but we can expect to get wet overnight. Okay, the TAF at Odium, 210 degrees, 6 knots, so fairly light southwesterly predicted there. View at 4,000 feet with visibility greater than 10 kilometers. There's a tempo later on today of breaking at 2,000, and then later on this evening as well, 160 degrees, 16 gusting, 26 knots, but that's all after sunset, so not affecting us. That's all associated with the arrival of that front. Farnborough, on the other hand, we're looking between 6 and 3, 230 degrees, 6 knots again, another light southwesterly. Visibility is greater than 10 kilometers with few clouds at 3,000 feet and becoming 170, 10 knots between 9 and 12. So showing becoming slightly southeasterly. We were expecting that later on, not really to interfere too much with the operation. Winds aloft to the south, 180 degrees at 30 knots, and then 25 knots, actually reducing a little bit with height. And to the north, 180 degrees, 20 knots, 190 degrees, 30. So but fair breeze at height there, a bit of a wind gradient, but nothing overly significant. On the ground here, we can see surface wind firmly across the airfield there, south-southwesterly, although it's showing as fairly light. But look at the local Met Office forecast, they're showing a maximum of around 10 knots for much of the day, gusting sub 20. So at the moment, very light, strengthening slightly, but we'll operate runway 27 to begin with, and then we'll see how manageable it is. If it becomes necessary for us to change onto 23, then we can do so. Temperature, expecting around 12 degrees in the warmest part of the day, obviously feeling quite a bit cooler with that wind chill factor, and a dew point there of 7 degrees. It's the webcam now on the south side. That cirrus there that we can see is quite thick, and that's going to continue to thicken throughout the day, lowering in its level until after sunset, when that very low level, sort of below 500-foot fog cloud, I beg your pardon, arrives when that front reaches us. And looking at SkySight's point forecast for us, showing a brief window of sort of soarable air, but generally it's just showing a bit of buoyancy. At the moment, we've got quite a thick top cover, and I'm not anticipating any gaps there that this is showing that would allow for a brief window of soaring. So I think it's unlikely, but we have had some quite good air recently, so it is entirely possible. Cloud distribution, so it's already at 9 o'clock local, or Zulu, I should say, which is the same thing. So we start at 8. You can see cirrus in our area, but clear out to the east. So we run it through our bio, moving quite quickly, and everything part of the system is moving very quickly, including the preceding cloud. And by sort of about 1 o'clock, we start to get a little bit of cumulostratus within the or underneath this cirrus. But that doesn't last very long. Although avoiding most of the really low stuff until about 6 o'clock this evening, in which case flying will have stopped and it will be dark, so we won't know, but we can see that frontal cloud moving its way in with a line of showers and CBs behind it there. No TAMS, nothing to affect us based on the forecast of local flying. If anyone does happen to be flying cross country in motor glider or powered airplane, we've got the Cotswold temporary CTA Class D airspace in force again. So I would recommend that you check your no TAMS with regards to that. And we'll move on now to glider bookings. We've got one K21 on booked flying today. There's a K13 for youth group, I believe, doing some flying today for the half term. And there's a K21 on the casual list. We've also got K13 on trial lessons and plenty of single seat availability. We've got one on the casuals at the moment and one instructor, and that's a PM only. And the simulator is available as normal. Just the one movement scheduled today at 4:15. We've got a Navajo departure, and that'll just be using the displaced threshold, so it shouldn't interrupt our operation too much. Reminder that SPL rules are now in force, so any questions do come and see me. And in summary, we've got low pressure to the west of Ireland, bringing more frontal activity. Thick cirrus cloud for much of the day with low level cloud approaching from the west, and that's probably going to arrive later on today, possibly after sunset. The wind is a light to moderate south-southwesterly throughout the day, and therefore will operate runway 27 cables on the grass south. If required, we can change to runway 23 depending on the wind, but it's a good opportunity for a bit of crosswind practice. A reminder, please, instructors do not brief at the front of the queue and do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. There's our airfield setup to finish on 27 with the winch to the south of the main runway and airtowing from the heart. That's all for me this morning. We'll see you out there shortly. Have a good day and keep it safe. Thank you.